I can tell you that the greatest experience you can ever have as a man is getting everything that you want in life. In fact, that might be the number one indicator of you being smart, because I know a lot of men say, "Oh, I'm smart, I'm smart." You're not smart until you can get everything that you want in life. If you can't get what you want in life, you're not smart, you're stupid, right? And for me, I've understood that the way that you get everything you want in life is understanding how humans function and how humans work as a man. You have to understand how women work, you have to understand how men work, and they're honestly pretty similar. And I'm going to simplify all of this shit for you so that you can start to understand how you can do it for yourself and start to get everything that you want. So the first thing you have to realize is that all humans are selfish by nature. All humans want their own things. They have their own intentions in mind, always. They're never doing anything just for the good of anything, right? They always want something in return. And I know some people might be saying, well, what about people who are, philanthropic and people who just give and people who donate, and like, aren't they doing it just for the good and for the good of the world? They're doing it for their own reasoning. They're doing it for their own desires. And their desires may not be to get money out of that thing. Their desire can be a status desire to elevate themselves as people who are changing the world, as people who are doing, or they may want to feel good about themselves by doing this specific action that may not give them any monetary return. That's what I'm saying. Everything has a give and take to it. All human interactions have a give and take. Someone may be willing to hop on the phone with you and talk to you about your problems, one, because they want to make themselves feel better and feel like problem solvers, because they feel useless in life. So everything in life is all about give and take. So, and I'll give you a little bit of a background around why I even thought about this and why I started to implement what I'm going to tell you in my life and how that's transformed my life. So as I was growing up, I always thought that, everybody, people could do things just without any incentive behind it. An incentive essentially means a reward that you get for doing the thing that you want. That reward is subjective. So the reward it can be money, it can be status, it can be recognition, which is also status. It can be anything, right? It can be this warm feeling that you have inside of you. People are always doing something to get something in return. I didn't realize this. So every time I would talk to somebody, and if I needed something from that person, I would communicate the desire that I needed it without telling them what they would get in return. Or I wouldn't even take the time to understand what they could potentially get in return, which then screwed me over because that conversation went to nothing. I didn't get what it is that I wanted. They also didn't get what it is that they wanted. So they felt like it was a waste of time, and I felt like it was a waste of time. And I started getting angry and I started getting upset. But it wasn't until I realized, okay, what is it that this person wants? Every time I interact with somebody, I start to try to understand, whether it's through patterns of how their behavior is, whether it's through their values that they have in life, that people are quick to tell you what their values are. They're quick to tell you everything if you just let them talk. You have to realize that people just love to talk about themselves, which is why I tell you, human beings by nature are selfish. So if human beings are selfish by nature, they always want to be talking about themselves. You will always be able to have a really good conversation. People say, I love talking to this person. I feel so close to this person. They feel so close to that person because that person just allowed for them to yap about themselves forever. Right? You want to talk to a rich guy? Have him talk about himself. Ask him questions about himself. Ask him questions about his childhood. Ask him questions about his family. It's the easiest way you can get what it is that you want out of people is if you allow for them to talk and feel like it's all about them. And then the next thing that you have to understand is this concept that I've called aligned incentives, right? This is the framework. This is the underpinnings of all conversations, of all sales conversations, of all everything. You have to understand, what is it that I want out of this and what is it that the other person wants out of this, and how can I align what I want based on what they want? Right? That's the gist of all conversations you should be having, of all interactions, of all actions you should be taking. Because the reality is, to get what you want in life, you have to understand humans and you have to be able to communicate with humans, because humans are what's going to give you what you want out of life. They are. Whether it's somebody who has something that you want, or whether it's somebody who does something that you want to do, that you want to have access to, it's all about aligned incentives. So you always have to figure out, well, what does that person want? What is it that that person is looking to have that they don't have yet that I could give them? And by me giving them that, what is that going to get me in return? A lot of people who are nice guys don't like this, right? They don't like this concept because they think, oh, that's too predatory. Once you understand that everything in life is about what people can get out of whatever it is that they engage in, you'll start to engage with people a lot better. It's the same with women. You have to understand, what does she want? What can she get out of this? And how can I get what I want out of this situation? That's how it works. A lot of guys struggle because they give everything with this blind mindset that like, oh, I don't want anything in return. I want nothing. You want something. What you want may not be a specific object or a specific action. It could be a sense. It could be a feeling that you want out of that. You're still getting something out of that. That feeling may be worth more to you than money, right? It's the same like when I coach guys, right? I figure, okay, what do you want? Right? What is it that you want, and how can I give you that? And what do I want? Well, of course, when I coach people, I want money and I want fulfillment and I want the feeling of changing people's lives. That's what I want. So if I want that, I have to figure out what they want. And I have to tell them, okay, well, this is how I can help you get what you want. And then what I want basically is like a sliver of what it is that they get from a value perspective in their mind. This works. And so you can extrapolate this across sales. You can extrapolate this across relationships. You can extrapolate this across even yourself when you're negotiating with yourself. What it is that your self wants. Maybe it's your lower self that wants something specific. It wants something that's on the lower spectrum. Maybe it wants more money, which is greed, or it wants lust. It wants, the sexual experiences, whatever. How do you negotiate with yourself? Maybe it wants more cheap dopamine. How do you negotiate with it? Okay, well, you can get that if I can get what I want, which is productivity. If you can sit here for 3 hours and get to work, I'll give you what it is that you want. Right? That's all you have to do. Is you can negotiate with yourself. You can negotiate with other people. We can call this a whole negotiation masterclass if you want to call it that. But it's all about that. That's all life is about, because everybody's going to want something. No one's just going to want you for you at all. Even your own mother. Your own mother is invested in you because it makes her feel good. It makes her feel like she is a mom. She is somebody who can take care of you. That's the feeling that she gets. That's the fulfillment that she gets from interacting with you, from being with you. Now, that fulfillment is a lifetime fulfillment, which is why your mom will always want to be around you, which is why your mom will always be present in your life. And it feels unconditional, but it's very conditional. It's just a condition that you don't need to actually do anything for. That condition just manifests itself because that's just her role in life that she's playing, and you just become the byproduct of what it is that she's getting. Right? So you have to understand your dad may want pride in having a son that is actually respectable in society, that is actually accomplishing things, and that is actually doing what it is that he wants him to do, which is be productive and be good in life. That's what the dad wants. That's why he's going to invest his time into making sure that you develop yourself as a person. Once you see, this is a very, very advanced way of looking at society, because most people don't look at society that way. Most people look at society as, let me get what I want without thinking about what the other person wants in return. And that creates unbalanced relationships with people. You have friends. You have to understand what your friends want out of you. Maybe your friends want proximity to you because you have a certain status that they want. Now, what do you want out of them? Everything's transactional. I don't believe that anything in this life is not transactional. Everything is transactional. Even if it's an energy transfer that you give to somebody, it's always transactional. When you understand this, you can start to be more practical with how you move with people, right? Everything is a fucking transaction. So for me, the biggest thing that I've always understood is, if everything is a transaction, how can I make sure that I'm getting my end of the bargain in that transaction and they're also getting theirs? Because there is bad intentions for bad outcomes, right? Like, you want to hurt people. That's a zero-sum game. But there are good interactions where you want to help somebody and you want to get something out of that for yourself, whatever it is that you value in yourself. It's a good action no matter what, but you have to acknowledge what it is that you want, or else you're always going to feel drained. You're always going to feel like you're being taken advantage of consistently because you don't even know what you want out of that interaction. You always want to just give, but there's nothing that you're actually taking from that interaction that can serve you in a specific way. And it doesn't have to be money. It can be a feeling. It can be a sense of fulfillment. It can be something that you're getting out of that, which you went and donated to a homeless shelter. Okay, well, you have to think, well, what am I getting out of this? Some people may think, oh, you can't think about it like that. Well, you do, because you wouldn't be giving to that place, that shelter, if you weren't going to get something in return. What are you going to get? A sense of, I'm changing the world. You're getting something, and that validates you doing that. A person who gives freely, right, knows that they're getting something freely in return. So everything is there's a cost to everything. I put out a free guide, right? I put out that free guide because I know I'm getting more people into my ecosystem. That's what I want. I don't want the money, I want the people. So everything is a transaction. On the internet, in real life, you start to understand life this way, you can't lose. You genuinely can't lose. I think the only time that you lose in life is if you don't understand this principle and you try to move through life. I see so many people just giving without any thought of what they could get in return. And then they feel drained and they feel like they get taken advantage of. And then they go into the dark side where they just start to just wow out on everybody. And they start to be resentful to everybody. And they start to hate people. You hate people because you don't understand that life is always a fucking transaction. Always. So I hope this is valuable for you. Links will be in the description if you want to tap into any of my resources that I have for you, depending on whatever stage you are in life. If you're willing to level up in your life, you level up in your health, right? You're getting your hormones straight, making sure that you have the energy to be able to move forward in your life, to be able to do big things in your life. The understanding women, getting better with women, all of these things I offer in my one-on-one mentorship, right? Which the structure is very, very clear. Turn you into a formidable player, an elite player in the arena of life. Turn you into an athlete of life. Get you prepared, get you going. Coach you through the tough parts of your life. Coach you through all of the pitfalls that you're going through in your life. You may have a business. You may need somebody who's there to be able to coach you through that process. Help you with your mindset. Help you with your health to make sure that you can last in this tough game of business. Could be just in life in general. Could be in relationships. How do you position yourself? How do you look at things? What is your mind? Everything starts in the mind. So if that's you and you do want to take that next step, the link will be in the description as well. Prices are there. I don't want to be a guru. I'm not holding anything for a sales call. If you really want to work with me, you'll work with me. If you don't, you don't. There's free value here all the time. I'm going to be breaking down a lot of concepts. I've actually gotten into hormones and everything like that, looking into peptides. I'm never going to take steroids like all the fucking bodybuilders do and shit like that. But I do need to look into peptides because my shoulder is getting fucked up. So I'm going to start to research that a lot more, and I'll be publishing a lot of what I know about it on this platform so that you can be informed in it as well, because I need that for myself. I haven't been able to fight for like weeks and weeks at a time, simply because my shoulder keeps popping out of place, going back in, because I think I have a very, very weak ligament that I don't want surgery for. So I'm looking into like these superhuman protocols to be able to like bulletproof myself. And in the process, man, it's just a new mastery level for me. So again, I appreciate you. Just wanted to give you an update on that too. Let me know in the comments of anything that you'd want me to make videos around, any struggles that you have as well, because I do want to start talking about a lot of the issues that men are facing right now, mentally, physically, even emotionally. And I appreciate y'all, man. Thanks for rocking with me. I'll catch you on the next video.